Your mind is not your enemy, but if you let it run uncontrolled, it can become the loudest prison you've ever lived in. This story is not just about peace. It's about how you can escape the storm inside your own head. Once upon a time, in a small village surrounded by tall mountains and quiet valleys, lived a 24-year-old young man named Marco. From the outside, his life looked normal, but inside, his mind was never still. Thoughts rushed through his head from morning till night. Memories of the past pulled him backward, regrets replayed again and again, and fear of the future pushed him into constant worry. His mind felt like a storm that never stopped. Because of this restless thinking, Marco felt tired all the time. Even when he lay down to sleep, his thoughts refused to rest. He stared at the ceiling for hours, feeling heavy inside. Slowly, he forgot how to smile. Joy felt distant. Peace felt impossible. One day, Marco heard something that sparked a small hope inside him. People spoke of a faraway village in the hills where a wise old man lived. This man had once been a famous psychologist in the city. He had helped countless people find clarity and calm in their lives. When he grew old, he left the noise, pressure, and rush of the city and chose to live close to nature, in silence and simplicity. Sometimes, travelers visited him for guidance. Marco felt something shift inside him. He thought, maybe this is my chance. Maybe this man can help me find peace. With that hope, Marco made a decision that would change his life. After many days of a long, exhausting journey through hills and winding paths, Marco finally reached the village. It was quiet, calm, and surrounded by greenery. At the edge of the village stood a small house covered with vines and leaves. On the porch, the old man sat peacefully, his eyes closed, his breathing slow and steady. Marco approached gently and spoke with a trembling voice. "Grandfather, my mind is very restless. I cannot stop thinking. I want peace in my heart. Can you help me?" The old man slowly opened his eyes and smiled calmly. "So, you are looking for peace," he said. "Come with me. I will give you a small task." He led Marco into his simple yard. There, he filled a glass with water right to the very top. The glass was so full that even the slightest movement could make the water spill. He placed it carefully in Marco's hands and said, "Walk from here to the edge of the village and then come back. But remember, you must not spill even one drop of water." Marco was surprised. This didn't seem like the answer he expected. But he trusted the old man and accepted the challenge. Holding the glass tightly, Marco began to walk. The road was narrow and busy. People passed by, children ran around laughing, shopkeepers called out to customers, and dogs barked loudly. The world around him was full of noise and movement. But Marco did not look around. His eyes stayed fixed on the glass. Every step was slow and careful. His entire attention was on the water. He adjusted his breathing. He felt every movement of his body. People watched him curiously, but no one disturbed him. After completing the walk, Marco returned and said with relief, "Grandfather, I did it. I didn't spill even one drop." The old man nodded and smiled. Then he asked, "Did you see the children playing on the road? Did you hear the dogs barking?" Marco paused, surprised. "No," he said honestly. "I didn't see or hear anything. I was only focusing on the glass." The old man smiled gently. "That is the secret," he said. "Something that was always inside you, but you never noticed. When your mind stays in the present moment, there is no space for fear, no confusion, and no unnecessary thoughts." He continued, "While you were holding the glass, your mind was completely quiet. You were not thinking about the past. You were not worried about the future. You were fully here." At that moment, something clicked inside Marco. He finally understood. This was the peace he had been searching for all along. Peace was not hidden in another place, another person, or another life. Peace was already inside him, waiting for his attention. Marco bowed his head respectfully and said, "Grandfather, now I understand. If I want to calm my mind, I must keep it in the present moment. That is when real peace comes." As the sun began to set, the sky turned golden. Birds flew back to their nests and the village grew quiet. Marco started his journey home. But this time, he was not the same restless young man. His thoughts no longer controlled him. He had learned how to calm his mind by being present. And that lesson stayed with him for the rest of his life.